Hey everybody, Rich down here in the bunker with Prep U. Um, yeah, the title of this video, you're probably going, man, planned food shortages? Really? I know what you're saying. You're probably saying one of two things. Yeah, Rich, duh. There's no way around that. Or other people are saying, man, you are a true conspiracy theorist. There's something seriously wrong with you. Well, there is something seriously wrong with me, but it has nothing to do with conspiracies or planned food shortages or anything else. But I mean, I really hate making this video, but I have to. I mean, I have to be true to my subscribers and everybody else out there. I spent a lot of time on YouTube and the internet chasing different stories down and seeing if they're real. And gosh, I mean, they're real. I mean, we're talking places like, MSNBC and CBS and CNN and Fox and News Nation and, all the different ones out there. These all come back, and I don't care what side of the aisle you are on, but you have to notice this. You have to see what's going on. I've got information here. Let me just throw it at you. You can make up, your own decision from there. But this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm reading. All right, diesel fuel. We know fuel's crazy. It's out of control, and the way that the administration is handling it makes zero sense whatsoever. Sure, they came in and had to appease the left-wing kook, earth firsters, and they shut down, pipeline, the XL pipeline. Then they shut down another one, and then they made it really hard on the leases they had given out to get permits through the EPA and right-of-ways from, the National Forestry Service, or what's the other group? What is it? Land management. You couldn't get permits to build a road into these areas, and that didn't make any sense. And now they've actually canceled offshore drilling, and in several places they're making, I think it's called Anwar up in Alaska, off limits. Well, I don't know how many people know that what Anwar was set aside for. That was set aside for oil drilling, okay? So that they could drill there and leave all of the rest of Alaska alone, and then have the pipeline going down to the lower 48 or a couple shipping sites. Okay, we all know what the cost of fuel is, and that's causing a lot of it. But the diesel is disappearing. All right, and I've got a couple stories or a couple comments along the way regarding diesel. Eggs. Just saw a video, and I chased it, and it's true. Some large egg producers who provide eggs to, the Walmarts of the world, the Sam's Clubs and stuff like that. Their orders have either been cut in half or are non-existent. So they're putting their eggs in cold storage. Why? I don't know. Have you been to the store and tried to find eggs lately? I have. There's eggs, but not like there used to be. Fuel, we all know about fuel besides the diesel. Fertilizer, we know about the fertilizer. We're not getting the fertilizer. They can't make it because of lack of fuel. Russia's not sending out. We're not a most favored nation for Russia, which I understand. They're not even sending it out to their own satellites, their own countries that like them. They're keeping the fertilizer for themselves. Baby formula. We all know about baby formula. Baby formula is a freaking disaster. And what happened? All right. So one manufacturer, which produces 40% of the baby formula in America, shut down because there were several infants that tragically died, and they traced it back to the formula, but not the formula itself. It was how the formula was made and how it was saved and then given to the babies. Hey, we adopted our kids, and we had to use formula. We were one of those families that had to. There are moms that give birth naturally and have to use formula because either they don't produce enough or they don't produce any, or the babies are allergic to it or whatever, and they need that formula. This company said, hey, we're going to shut down. We're going to inspect. FDA, come on in, clear us, and we'll get making it up right away. FDA said, okay, we'll see you in 3 months. 3 months, knowing that this company makes 40% of the baby formula, and they know how important it is to have baby formula on the shelves. This is the same FDA that wouldn't allow baby formula from several other countries because the wording on their label did not say it right or did not state that there was something in the formula that had to be stated if you just by U.S. companies, but it didn't say anything about foreign companies. They rejected it all. Now they're gonna allow some baby formula to come in. Milk distribution. Milk, a lot of the producers of milk are cutting back. How do you cut back a cow from making milk? I have no idea. But it's not selling. No one's buying the milk. All right? Stores I go to, there's plenty of milk, so I don't know anything about that. I used to buy all our vegetables and sauces and stuff like that in number 10 cans, the large number 10 cans. I can't find them anymore. I can barely find the regular size cans in places like Sam's and Costco and stuff like that. They're really cut back. There's only, 30, 40, 50 cases. There used to be 200, 300, 400 cases of this stuff in the large cans. I don't see that. Water. I'm hearing now there may be a shortage of bottled water for 2 reasons. What do you need to make the plastic bottles? Petroleum. They can't afford to buy the petroleum to make the plastics to form it into bottles because it goes from petroleum to plastic beads to injection mold systems, and then it makes the bottles. The bottles go to a water factory or a company, whatever. They get filled and they get labeled and they get shipped out. It's too expensive. It's just too expensive. So now we're talking about a problem with water. Been hearing a lot of our oil reserves, which are supposed to be used for national emergencies, supposed to be there for our military to use if they absolutely have to use it in times of war, are going south. I don't mean Florida. Apparently they're going south of the border to countries down there that actually are supposed to be producing their own oil, but they're not. All right, I tried to follow the trail on this. There were a couple dead ends, but it's definitely proven that our oil reserves are being depleted and they're not going in to be making gasoline and diesel for you and I, which they shouldn't be. They should be saved for the military because it doesn't matter how much of the oil reserves come out, it isn't going to do anything at the pump. India, I'm sure you heard this, India has stopped all grain shipments outside their country. All right, they had a really bumper crop, then they had a heat wave, so their second crop really wasn't up to what it was supposed to be. They had planned to make a ton of money off of their grain because Ukraine wasn't making it, and the countries that Ukraine used to sell to would buy from India. You have to realize that area of the world, Ukraine, India, and some of those stand countries, they produce about 40% of the grain used worldwide. Ukraine is not planting, and who knows how much they'll plant. And do they have fertilizer? Because they used to get their fertilizer from Russia. Who else has stopped shipments of grain? Both China and Russia are keeping all their food stuff, their cereal grains, their bread grains, their all the different types of flour. They're keeping them in their country. They are not shipping them out. Canada and U.S. are the breadbasket for the Americas. There's absolutely no doubt about it. We will have enough here, but since the rest of the world doesn't have any, price is going to go up. Supply and demand, that's just the way it works. You may hate it, you may love it, but that's just the way it works. All right. Another thing to realize is there is a lot of U.S. farmland, even if we produce it here, is not owned by Americans. It's owned by different countries, foreign national. Bill Gates and his group has been buying up a lot of farmland, and the crazy thing about it is that farmland is not being planted. All right. A lot of the seed corn, seed soybean, the seed wheat that they use for planting, not U.S. owned. It's foreign owned. What's going to happen to that? Is that going to stay in their country? I don't know. We talked about this in one of our last videos, and I believe it was the case for doubling your prepping stockpile. Distribution centers and warehouses have had some very unusual events happening to them. There have been 2 that were hit by airplanes, and yet that's true. I chased those down because I went, really? Really? A bunch have been hit by fire, no cause or anything like that they could find. And of course, there's been a lot of computer issues in their distribution system, getting what they have there out and getting other stuff from the shippers in. So that's an issue, and that goes back to diesel fuel. Okay, so let's say the stuff comes into the country, whereas on one side of the country, what's it going to cost to ship to the other side of the country? You're going to pay for it. Yep, you're going to pay for it. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So another video from Southern Prepper, great guy. Subscriber to his channel, as I am with the Canadian Prepper, another great guy. The Southern Prepper who has friends or relatives, he wasn't really being specific, that are part of elite fighting groups within the United States that only get deployed when this stuff really hits the fan, have been deployed. Don't know where they've been deployed, but they've been deployed. All right. Where we sit here in Illinois, we see U.S. military flights overhead all the time. The big C-130s and some of the other planes that carry stuff between the coasts. And you can tell they're military because they're flying in formation. It's been a lot of activity lately. All right. Saw a story about the rail systems cutting their freight runs because there's not much freight to move, and the cost of fuel, they're waiting to have larger trains so they don't waste so much fuel. And then also they talked about these railroads are not moving diesel fuel to their distribution centers. Here outside of Chicago, there's a big Santa Fe shipping yard where all the containers come in on freight, and then they fill all the different vehicles to offload. They're not getting the fuel. They're not being supplied with fuel or enough fuel to get a full day's work. So the story goes. I don't know. I don't work in the rail yards. Somebody that works in those rail yards could tell me differently. Somebody that works in the railroad industry could say that, no, we got no problem with diesel. But the stories that I read, they are having a lot of issues with shipping and diesel and everything else that goes along with it. Something very interesting, and I don't why our government isn't doing this, because I've seen headlines in Germany, in Sweden, Italy, France. Their governments are telling their people to make sure that you have at least 10 days of food, water, and medicine in your home to take care of food, medicine, and water supply shortages or stoppages. Well, you watch this channel, so I'm sure you have 1 month, 3 months, 6 months to a year or more per person of extra food, water, and medicine. If you don't, I'm thinking now's the time to get it. One subscriber said to me, and I quote, I'm trying to do my best prepping, but I do want to stay within budget. And my answer to her was, I get that. We have to be very careful, especially with everything getting more and more expensive. But now is the time, if you see it, to buy it. And let's say nothing happens. Okay, let's say the supply of food keeps up. It's not going to go down the price isn't going to go down anytime soon. Now you got it. Okay, so you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's true. You're paying for food now, but maybe you don't have to pay for it later, so it kind of balances it. And if you think about it, if food prices are going to go up like they say they're going to go up, you're buying it at let's say a cheaper price. It's not really a cheaper price, but it may be a cheaper price than from 1 week, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 22 weeks from now. Who knows when this is end? If this is a planned food shortage, they're going to keep going. It's not going to stop. It's going to snowball and get worse and worse and worse. So if you have the food and you have it at a decent price, I guess now it's a decent price, although it drives you crazy, get it now. Take that chance. Buy it. Have it. Because you know what? If you don't spend it and you got some money, but you got no food, how much is it going to cost you to find some food? All right. And if you have a little bit of extra of something, and the old adage, hey neighbor, I'm baking a cake. You got a couple eggs I can borrow? You can trade with your neighbors and friends and stuff like that. So don't worry about going over budget right now. I think the thing to do is make sure that you have your supply of 3, 6, 9 months or more per person of food, water, and medicine. Also, it's springtime. Take a look at your yard. Plant as much as you can in your yard. Look at where the sun, get out there for a day, take a look where the sun is, take a look at plants that can grow in full sun, partial sun. There's not much that grows in the shade. I hate to tell you that, except for like hosta. You can't kill a hosta plant. I've tried. But all kidding aside, get your yard planted. And actually, our next video is, maybe not the next one, the one after that is going to be what is in your survival garden. That's coming up soon, for all of you that are subscribers. You'll get it right away, which is great. Subscribers, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber right now, click subscribe and hit that bell, and you'll get notified of everything. But you have to keep quiet about what you're doing. You can't tell the world that, I'm a prepper, I have all this stuff in my house, because if things really get bad, they'll go, I kind of remember Steve down the street said he was a prepper and he was buying all this stuff. I'm sure he'll give us some stuff, because he doesn't want us to die. He doesn't want our kids to die. Doesn't want our dog to die. Don't forget the dogs. And the cats and the fish and all that kind of stuff. Don't eat your fish, though. They're pets. Keep it quiet and make sure you have something security-wise that you can protect what you have bought. All right? You need to protect your stuff once you bought it. That's just the way it is. And plan now to protect your castle, just in case things get really bad. Because like in the video I talked about, is it time to double? When people are hoarding food and it's not going to food banks, those people are going to find that food somewhere. Let's just hope it's not your house. Like I said, in the last video, the case for doubling your prepping stockpile, I made much mention of the shutdown in China. So let's talk about the shutdowns in China again. We're talking 3 manufacturing cities that manufacture everything from parts for gas distribution centers to water plants to car manufacturers to car batteries to inner tubes for your tire. What doesn't China make that we buy? 3 major manufacturing cities, a possible 4th. I'm still trying to figure out if this one other city is shut down. There is definitely one port, the largest port in China, has shut down and is not sending stuff out. I told you earlier in this video, China is not sending out anything they grow in their country to anybody. I don't care who they are, to nobody. And possibly a second port city is being shut down, and they're being shut down because of COVID. Zero COVID policy. Have you heard that before? Zero COVID policy. We tried that here in America. Well, one group of politicians tried that. Doesn't really work. It's like, zero cold, common cold, even though the common cold isn't so common. China's halting their food shipments, just like India, just like Russia. So the food shortage is real. There is absolutely no doubt that the food shortage is real. Someone or some group or groups have put a lot of effort into this, and they're making their little web, and it's all falling in place for them, and we're all being screwed by it. Our prices for everything are going up. Stuff on the shelves is disappearing. Even though we had that rise in product, remember when we didn't have anything at Sam's? And then all of a sudden, the last month, it skyrocketed where the aisles were full. Well, I go back to Sam's and I go back to Costco and I go back to Mariano's and stuff like that. It's already starting to dwindle down, especially food. Paper products, yeah, most paper products are made here anyhow. But food products are diminishing as they go down. And who knows what this growing season is going to be like? Who knows where the drought is going to continue or not? And where is it going to get? Better, worse? Flooding? Flooding is just as bad. Ask a farmer. Flooding is just as bad as drought because the seeds can't grow. Then in the fall, they can't get out and get the product the crops out of the fields, and they sit there and they rot. So, and that's a coin toss. Ask any farmer. Sure, I planted this many acres. This is what I hope to get. Don't know if I'm going to get it. Might get more, might get a lot less. So I don't see this ending anytime too soon in the future. I just see it getting worse and worse. So be prepared. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your eyes open and your mind open. Check the internet out. Subscribe to some of these other prepper channels. I hope you do. And check out the news, feeds. And read between the lines. All right? Please. Like I always say at the end of the video, I'm going to say it not quite at the end, but always be aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you and around your town and around your state and around your country and around the world. All right? Always have enough food. More now to shelter in place. 3, 6, 9 months or more per person. And if there's anybody out there that has to come to you in your family, prepare for them too. Have food for them. Have whatever you need. Baby needs. Have formula for them if you can find it. In case they need to rely on you to help them out. Because family's family. That's just, it's more important than work, and it's, thicker than water, blood family. So, and always, like I always say, prep like your life depends on it, because it really does. This is really going to get some serious stuff. If you can afford some long-term food storage from some of these places, I would suggest getting it just to have on hand. I mean, we have it. We have several cases back here, as you can see. This is part of it. There's some in another part of the house that we have. We're making sure that our kids have it also. So, planned food shortages? I kind of think so. I think I could probably take the question mark out of the title of this video because I truly believe these are planned food shortages. Just way too much to be just circumstantial. So, do your due diligence. Don't take what I say for granted. Get out there, research it yourself, take some time, educate yourself, save you and your family. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Subscribers, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. If you got a comment, please comment. If you like the video, please like the video. If you think I'm a raving lunatic, tell me I'm a raving lunatic. I won't hate you for it because you could be right, but I don't think so. I think this time everything points to somebody's doing something to screw us all. So take care, be safe, stockpile. Look at our other videos about stockpiling and all the other prepping videos, and protect what you have. Thanks a lot. Take care.